So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Since the news made it out that Peter Nwachukwu, the husband of the late gospel singer Osinachi Nwachukwu, has been sentenced to die for causing her death, mixed reactions have continued to trail this incident as expected. While a lot of people have commended this judgment, viewing it as a landmark verdict against domestic violence, which is very rampant in Nigeria, they have viewed the conviction of Peter Nwachukwu as a stern warning to perpetrators of domestic violence and some sort of beacon of hope to victims. Not everybody share in the same views or sentiments. Some people are not pleased about this outcome, and they believe that the courts should have handled this matter differently. Let us take a glance at these few. This person here said, "Do you really think this is victory? Their children are about to lose both parents. These children will destroy for life and even generations. Could they not have given him 20 years or about that?" We got plenty comments in the same line about how the sentence should have been reduced instead of giving a death sentence. This other comment said, "Although that's not a good-mannered guy, but his trial for murder was a miscarriage of justice." And this other person said, "A death sentence is harsh as the crime was not premeditated. I hope he appeals to get a fair sentence." So he's saying that he didn't get a fair sentence. There are many more comments like this. These are just to mention but a few. This is a free zone. This is a free space. So if you are also thinking in that line that the sentence should have been reduced because of his children, or that why was he charged for murder, if your train of thoughts are towing in this line, please share down in the comment section and perhaps why you think so. I shared the opinions of these very well respected subscribers of mine, not because I want them to be bashed. No, we are all entitled to our opinions, aren't we? I extracted these comments as an avenue for us to learn some things. I'm going to be teaching us some very important things today. So see it as an opportunity to learn, as well as an avenue for us to get more details into this case or about this case that we were not abreast of before now. So don't forget to watch this video closely till the end. And if you're new here, seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. Without further ado, let us proceed. On the first comment that we read about the sake of the kids will be destroyed for life. Why didn't the court consider the welfare of the children before sentencing the father of the children of an already late mother to death? Now, considering the welfare of the children is great. It's a noble thing to do. But I want you to think very deeply. In that journey of consideration of the children, while considering the children, are you really convinced? Do you really think that a person who possesses that level of bestiality is in the best position to care for the children? That a father so inconsiderate that he would beat the mother of those children to a pulp in their presence without regard for how much his destruction is destroying his children, on how much the impact of his behavior is having on the lives of the children and the toll that his violence is taking on their well-being, does that person become the ideal parent to raise those children? Did he really care about those children while they watched him stomp his feet on their mother and send her out in the dead of the night? Don't you think that his presence in their life would even create more destruction to them than benefits? Will there be better off or worse off with him? Please give it a thought. Now, that is me speaking emotionally. Let us talk legally, factually, because it is important that we all know how the law works. The court of law is not the court of social media and is not a court of sentiments. Peter Nwachukwu was convicted of culpable homicide. It is a grave offense. It is a capital offense. It is that simple in the eyes of the law. The law is very explicit. The penal code under section 221 clearly stated that the punishment for culpable homicide is death. And the judiciary's role is to interpret and apply the laws that the legislators have made based on the facts and the evidence presented before it. So if there are any displeasures next, that displeasure should be channeled to the legislators, not the courts and not the judiciary. It should be channeled to the lawmakers, not the law appliers. It's just like you ordered a meal from a restaurant and you use the dispatch rider, the dispatch guy brings it, and you are seeing that the food that they gave you, it didn't taste good, it wasn't your expectations, and you start taking it out on the dispatch rider that doesn't work for the restaurant, and you start fighting him and shouting at him and holding his shirt. No, he is just a deliverer. He is just a messenger. So the courts apply the law. The legislators make the law. The only time that a judge is at liberty to make a variation in a sentence or to exercise discretion is when the law expressly allows for it. There are some offenses that the law stipulates punishable by imprisonment for a maximum of 20 years or of not more than 20 years, meaning there is a leverage of discretion. There is an opportunity to exercise discretion. So the judge can pass a sentence of all these years, but not exceeding what is stipulated by law, which is 20 years. So a judge in that case can exercise the discretion and give 10 years or give 5 or give 1 year or give 20 years, the maximum sentence. The law has put a cap and says you can sentence all through these years, but not more than 20 years, then the judge can exercise discretion. But death for culpable homicide is a mandatory sentence. And where the criteria for culpable homicide is met, the result is sacrosanct. The court has no room at all for alternative sentencing in this case, as long as the prosecution has proven its case beyond reasonable doubt. Besides, just imagine the precedent that it will leave to criminals when they have at the back of their mind that they could get a tap on the wrist because they have children. Isn't that a dangerous precedent to set? Let us not forget that these verdicts are not only justice for the victims or punishment for the perpetrators. They also serve as deterrents to others not to commit the crime. So when people go around knowing that, hey, I have children, during my trial, I will say, for the sake of the children now, don't you think that that's a bad precedent to others to go ahead and commit crimes like this? Except the prosecution didn't prove that offense of culpable homicide, then the court might find them guilty of some other thing and give them a lesser sentence based on what they were found guilty of. But if they were found guilty of culpable homicide, the judge's hands are tied. Let us address the second comment, because it may be surprising to some people to learn that some other people have the opinion that Peter was treated unfairly and unjustly, and the sentence was unjustly sentenced. It will surprise you to know that so many people, or some people, have that opinion. But such is life. Different people, different opinions. So this second comment, the one that said that this death sentence is so harsh, he didn't get a fair sentence. It's not like it was premeditated. He didn't plan to kill her, so why give him the death sentence? It's not like he picked up a gun and shot her. So what is the meaning of this? I'll tell you. In law, in criminal law, intent does not only mean that somebody planned to do something, or planned to commit a crime, or planned to kill somebody. No. There are cases where intent can and will be inferred, will be assumed from a person's actions. And that is called implied intent. In law, there is something we call the natural or probable consequences rule. A man having a misunderstanding with a friend, he picks up a metal and slams it deep into the man's head. The other man falls down, jerks, bleeding from the head, and dies. And the man that attacked the late man is saying, we were in a fight. I didn't intend to kill him. In fact, that day when I was leaving my house, I didn't plan to fight though. He was the one that annoyed me on the downfall bus, so insulting Tinubu. There was no premeditation. There was no intention. The court would ask, okay, you didn't have any intention. We agree. But what is the natural or probable reaction, consequence of taking a metal rod and hitting somebody in the head? What naturally results from that action? Death or choir? Then we will assume that that was your intent. Your intent will be inferred from the natural reaction and consequence of your actions. So if a person is engaged in an act that could cause death to another person or cause them grievous bodily harm, you will be held legally responsible for that outcome, whether you premeditated it or not. So let us bring this down. Let us bring it closer home. In the case of domestic violence, you constantly beat up your spouse. You strangle them during a misunderstanding. You deny them medical care after injury. If they die from your abuse, you will be culpable, and your lack of premeditation will not save you. I hope we are learning. I do hope we are learning. I know that a lot of people are learning. A lot of people that listen to me are learning and are changing. Even some of my odogus reach out to me on Instagram, and I keep saying nothing gives me more joy to know that one man, one person sees life differently because of what they hear from me. One person is more enlightened, more knowledgeable because they watch me. It gives me better satisfaction. So if you are thinking you can just commit a crime and hide behind, I didn't mean to, ironio, ashikwa, you would face and dance to the music. So in the case of Osinachi, her husband had a long record, a long history of emotional, financial, and most critically here, physical abuse. His persistent violent conduct created a situation where her death was sadly a foreseeable result. And he will be held to account for that. Let us address the third and the last comment. The one that said, how did he put it? Although that's not a good-mannered guy. In fact, the way you put it is very offensive. Like, that was a mild way of describing a man who tortured his wife consistently for 10 years. Physically, emotionally, financially, and otherwise. Saying that he's not a good-mannered guy. As if he's a guy that drove off without leaving the change for the bartender that served him. Oga John, I'm suspecting you. So he said that although Peter is not a well-mannered guy, but his trial for murder was a miscarriage of justice. All right, that's your opinion. Now let me teach you. I may not have thought about this the exact same way you're thinking about it. But do you know that I did ruminate a little about that? Yes. I thought for a second, yes, established. Osinachi's husband was a violent and cruel guy. But what evidence did the courts consider to arrive at the decision that he was responsible for her death, either directly or remotely? How did the court determine that his actions through the years was what led to Osinachi's death, thereby cumulating to being found guilty of culpable homicide and now getting the hangman's rope? What he did was bad, but we don't want a judge being emotional because the consequences for domestic violence is not death. So upon what evidence, what ground did the court rely on to arrive at this conviction? During this almost 3 years of trial, a lot happened. I did mention it in the last video, the last Osinachi video. A lot happened, but maybe I didn't go deep into all that happened. Now I'll tell you. First, Peter Nwachukwu faced a 23-count charge filed by the Attorney General of the Federation, and it included spousal battery, emotional abuse, physical abuse, criminal intimidation, cruelty to children, culpable homicide, punishable by death, amongst others. Culpable homicide is tantamount to first-degree murder in Western worlds. That is the substitute of what culpable homicide means, because it's not every jurisdiction that uses that terminology. It is tantamount to first-degree murder. To build its case, the prosecution called upon 17 witnesses, which included staff, colleagues, neighbors, family, associates, even the couple's children. The kids testified that Peter Nwachukwu, their father, had stomped violently on Osinachi's chest during one of his episodes of beating, and her death occasioned shortly after that stomping. Witnesses gave account of how he would deny her medical care when she sustained injuries during the beating, even though he knew that she needed a hospital. The prosecution provided 25 pieces of evidence to support their case, including sworn affidavits, voice recordings documenting abuse, photos and medical imaging, scans, x-rays showing bodily damage, medical reports showing internal injuries that occurred as a result of blunt force trauma. Even the hospital where she died in, where she passed, gave testimony of the condition of her chest area due to the kick, the stomp he gave her chest, and how that was a direct cause of her death. If this case was between a politician and an ordinary person, would have said the politician has gone to bribe. The politician is trying to oppress the younger person. But in this case, does Osinachi's family have any money? It's from a very, very humble family. All the overwhelming evidence and exhibits, the prosecution did prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. So for those who are in doubt, I hope that my explanations have cleared it for you. And I hope that through these questions, we have gotten a better understanding of what transpired, how the law works, and how the courts arrived at its decision. But just to add, the legal framework understands that a judge or a court can make a mistake, can err in its decisions, and that's why there are always avenues for appeals. This court that pronounced the sentence is the court of first instance, meaning it is the first court that has heard the matter. He still has 2 levels of appeals available to him. Do you think that Peter will be exploring his fundamental human rights of an appeal? Or do you advise that he should just accept his cross and take punishment for what he has done? I will keep us posted and informed as this case unravels even deeper. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's video. If you're new here, you're seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl, Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.